Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching and Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channels. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about a conversation about pro wrestling. We've got over 2,600 of these available for your listening pleasure, a wide variety of topics, and this is the AEW Dynamite Go Home show for the 25th of May. 2022. I can't believe we're already almost halfway through the year. But anyway, MJF comes out. He is in a referee outfit. Wardlow defeats Sean Spears in a steel cage match with MJF as special guest referee. For the match, MJF can't find the key to uncuff Wardlow, allowing Spears to attack him. MJF gets in the action too. They send Wardlow face first into the cage wall. Wardlow comes back at Spears, handcuffed. MJF then tries to beat Wardlow into attacking him, spitting in his face. Wardlow then lands a senton atomico on Spears and covers, but MJF doesn't make the count. Wardlow then sets up the powerbomb Symphony, but Wardlow kicks him low, or MJF kicks him low. Spears hits C4, MJF attempts the fast count, but Wardlow still kicks out. Spears then left the cage and produced a chair. MJF sets Wardlow up to be struck with it, but then Wardlow evades Spears and inevitably lands nasty shots to MJF's head. Wardlow then pulls the strap down and performs a powerbomb synergy. MJF incorporates Bryce Remsburg, sent in as the backup referee, and powerbomb Spears into the chair. After the match, the entire security detail runs in and is subsequently leveraging Wardlow. Last guy powerbombed outside the ring between the cage and the ring. Wardlow climbs in the cage, celebrates as MJF, and Wardlow is officially announced for Double or Nothing. Jericho Appreciation Society's backstage, wind up with some basic backstage junk. John Moxley's shirt, Jericho throws fireball in his face because he's a wizard. Hangman Page and CM Punk's face to face. Both men make entrances. Punk said the biggest moment of his career happened in Las Vegas when he walked out Double or Nothing as champion. Page said that there was nothing Punk could do about him. Take the title away. Punk doesn't know why Page is taking things so personally because to him it's just business. Page said when he talks about annihilating and embarrassing Punk, he didn't mean Double or Nothing. He meant now. He fantasized about letting Pipe Bomb out on his own, but he can't do it. He can't do it because it's exactly what Punk would do, and that's wrong. Truth is, Page doesn't hate Punk. He almost pities him. Page doesn't think Punk has what it takes to be a champion because of these little moments. Page loves this place, and Double or Nothing, he'll be defending AEW from Punk. Punk simply said he doesn't know why Page is so angry. If Page is upset he's here, he's going to have to do something about it. This weekend, the road to Page travels to get here is paved by Punk, who gave AEW the blueprint. He demanded that Page shake his hand, then shoves him, getting a right hand in return. This is not bad, but at the same time, it's weak as a main event closing segment. I like CM Punk. I think Adam Page's title reign has been relatively uneventful, except if you're into geek match quality stuff, but as far as advancing him as a character, hasn't done anything for him. Video package hypes Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay for the TBS Championship Double or Nothing. Jade points out that she's already beaten Jay, said she learned from veterans on the roster, and says she's still ready to be the best. William Regal and Chris Jericho joined commentary for the next match, which is Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston defeating Private Party, Mark Quinn, and Isaiah Cassidy. Why in the world is Quinn and Cassidy still on national television? They should be the next in the cut line, in my estimation. Kingston and Moxley attacked before the bell and completely dominated early on. Enziguri allowing Quinn to spring for the hot tag. Private Party land dives. Cassidy hits a diving stunner before Quinn locks on a shooting star press for a 2 count. Private Party then goes to the silly string. Kingston hits a move and then a bunch of clubbing blows from Moxley before hitting the Paradigm Shift for the win. At least the right team won. After the match, Jericho Appreciation Society beats down Moxley and Kingston before Santana Ortiz and Bryan Danielson run down to even up the odds in favor of the 10-person junk that comes on the pay-per-view. Video package for the winning deal of the uh, program here. Caprice Coleman joins for ROH commentary. ROH Tag Team Champions FTR, Wheeler, and Haywood defeat Roppongi Vice, Romero, and Beretta. They go to a no contest, actually. Rocky and Cash wrestle in a decent enough exchange. Cross arm breaker forcing Cash to roll to the floor. Dax and Trent come in. Physical back and forth, chops and other strikes, assisted elbow from Cash, getting a two count, and me getting my phone apparently. We'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail with more right after this. And again, in simple form, the nature of this whole concept as far as Dynamite being in a position or in the position the way it is isn't necessarily horrible. It's not necessarily great. It's just, hey, it is what it is. I mean, this, as far as a go home show, pretty strong comparatively, although I will get to Rampage in a little bit in another audio, but Rampage was incredibly weak. So it's interesting that they as a company are there anyway. So blind tag, half and half suplex, such a double drop from Cash after a near fall. Rocky then gets that blind tag half and half on Trent, getting ahead of the commercial break. Back from the commercial, Dax gets a hot tag and fights through Roppongi Vice. Trent sends Dax into the hard turnbuckle. Roppongi Vice then hits a rising double knee on Dax. Rocky then runs interference on Cash before hitting diving dropkick following the 2 count and Trent sliding lariat. Trent and Dax exchanged repeated cradles. Roppongi Vice hits strong zero for a near fall. Jeff Cobb and Great Okan from New Japan United Empire run in and attacked everyone, leading to a double disqualification. I think the first in AEW history ending in this way. After the match, Cobb and Okan beat down both teams. Cobb then hits the Tour of the Islands and powerbomb Dax to a table. Okan does the same with the Eliminator to Trent, standing with the ROH tag titles, so obviously they're coming in for that purpose. Hardy brothers are backstage. Matt talks about how the Young Bucks have a similar upbringing to them. Not quite. However, once they broke into the business, their similarities end because the Bucks don't have the fortitude to succeed like the Hardys did. Very true. Basically, the Young Bucks are spot monkeys who never had an original idea in their lives, and it's proven. They stole from the Hardys. They steal their hand signals and the Bullet Club concept from the NWO and the Click. They've never had a unique thought in their lives. Jeff said the Bucks are just stepping stones on their way to become the AEW Tag Team Champions. Matt said they would delete the Bucks at Double or Nothing, which would be awesome. Three-way, Swerve Strickland defeats Jungle Boy and Ricky Starks. Trading roll-ups early during the beginning of things. Hits a Rana on Starks, but Starks trips Jungle Boy up and lands a lariat on the floor before avoiding Swerve dive, sending him into the barricade. Once back on the apron, Rana from Jungle Boy sends Swerve to the floor. Back in the ring, Jungle Boy hits a sliding elbow to the back. Swerve then hits his head for 2 count. Olympic slam on Starks for 2 more. Swerve then brings Jungle Boy back into the ropes, and Jungle Boy attempts a reverse Rana, and Swerve lands on his feet. Swerve then goes for the vertical suplex, gets cut off with a spear from Starks, who follows up with a Michinoku driver for near fall. Starks then pokes Swerve in the eye and hits the Rochambeau but Jungle Boy puts Starks in the snare trap. They struggle for a good while until Swerve breaks up jumping thrust kick. Swerve stomp on Starks, followed up for the win. After the match, Powerhouse Hobbs attacks Swerve, and Jungle Boy Luchasaurus runs down, making the save, and then Keith Lee emerges. Luchasaurus tail whip dispatches everybody. Dan Lambert and Men of the Year backstage. Lambert said busting up Sky's title wouldn't get the match that they wanted, and then basically Sky's new belt would be presented on Rampage. Thunder Rosa um, promo. Rosa then pointed to herself and said that this is the real her. She's grateful to be champion and has never complained. She addresses Deeb and says she wasn't champion. All she does is complain and point fingers. On Sunday, we won't see this face. The war paint will come on, and she'll teach Deeb some respect. Thunder Rosa has had, honestly, due to injury, a bit of a lackluster women's championship reign, but I love her. She's phenomenal nonetheless. Red Velvet is backstage. She complains about losing the tournament. Ruby Soho then walked up, and Velvet offered Soho a notebook of information on how to break Chris Statlander. Soho said she didn't need the notebook, and the new Statlander she's up against. Owen Hart, semifinals. Britt Baker defeats Tori Storm. This is reasonably rough at points. They performed extended technical exchange, start things off. Moving to the outside, more brawl. Storm sets up face first and steel steps ahead of the commercial. Back from the break, Storm starts a comeback with a swinging DDT and a hip attack. She then hits the Alabama Slam, but Baker counted Storm 0 into an air raid crash for near fall. Jamie Hayter emerged down the ramp and exchanged words with Baker. Storm rolls Baker up for a 2 count, then Baker hits an almost lightning spiral for a near fall. Storm comes back from a release German suplex. Storm then knocks Hayter off the apron, and Baker was about to roll up Storm and hold the ropes for cheap win for a awkward finish. Weak match anyway. Rampage 527. Owen Hart semifinal. Ruby Soho, Chris Statlander, Young Bucks in action. Danielson and Matt Sydal. Double or Nothing 529. Buy-in, Hook and Danhausen, Tony Nese, and Smart Mark Sterling. Hangman Page, CM Punk for the AEW Championship, Women's Championship, Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb. Tag Team Championships, Jungle Boy Luchasaurus versus Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, and Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. TBS Championships, Jade Cargill and Anna Jay. The Young Bucks and the Hardys. Death Triangle, House of Black. Anarchy in the Arena, Jericho Appreciation Society, Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz, John Moxley, and Bryan Danielson. MJF and Wardlow. Owen Hart Cup finals for both the men and the women. Owen Hart semifinal. Samoa Joe defeats Kyle O'Reilly. Joe nails O'Reilly early with strikes before the two men wrestled to a stalemate. Joe leveraged O'Reilly and levels him with a chop. Standing elbow drop for a 2 count. O'Reilly makes a brief comeback with strikes of his own, but then gets cut off. With back elbows, O'Reilly lands a diving knee drop and then goes for the armbar ahead of the commercial. Once back from the break, Joe then has his arm worked over severely. He is then able to fire up and ultimately lands a running senton for near fall. Nice lariat follows with a little bit and then gets Fujiwara armbar. Joe breaks free of that, and then they trade strikes in the middle of the ring. Joe hits an enziguri on O'Reilly, firing back with a soccer kick. O'Reilly counters with the STO and rolls Joe up. Joe kicks out and goes for the rear naked choke. O'Reilly then tries to counter, going for the injured arm, but Joe's able to choke O'Reilly out for the win. After the match, Adam Cole stares down Samoa Joe, and there we go. We'll be back with more right after this.